Views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Friday, the 23rd day of April, 2021. Welcome to the Daily Hour, brought to you by Medical House, One Communications, and Lindos. I'm Jamal Hartman, along with Carla Zool and Jackie Lambert. Thanks for making us part of your daily routine. If you're watching online, share the link. If you're on Facebook, start a watch party. If you're on Twitter, retweet it. If you're watching on Channel 82 or listening on the Full 100 radio station, call someone up, let them know we're on. Just get the conversation out there to your network, and don't forget to like and engage with us. A good one for you. Well, supposed to be a good guest today, Mark Clark from Sale GP, if he shows up. And the daily play is going to be the feud. So Carla is planning on redeeming herself with the partnership of the Jackster today. How's that? I mean, she's
I'll take it.
She's had a bad. Yeah. She's
Fridays are her lucky days. She is so strong on Fridays. She's just like, yeah, got this.
It's not my lucky day, Jackie. You add to the ambiance, so you give me the vibe to get it all right. So I'm that like works. 1.5 or 2.5 out of 4. Not bad, not bad.
You take this love connection stuff somewhere else. Sheesh. Oh, Jackie, you're here, and that's why you give me hope and da 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 da. Look,
I feel hate.
No, not at all. Love the love. Yeah, sure.
We'll send some your way.
What's that?
We'll send some your way.
Oh no, hold that. I love where I am. Boundaries and all. Look, so there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to talk about this Friday. Some funny stuff, some not so funny stuff, some blood pressure rising stuff. But there was a video yesterday, and I guess people were upset because what they saw on video, it looked like people were allowed to shop at the Sale GP store and they're not allowed to shop at local stores. What's going on there?
I don't know if it wasn't that they weren't allowed to shop, but it was the curbside that was the issue. So the lady that did the video, and her point was valid. It's supposed to be curbside delivery, but she clearly caught someone on camera inside at the counter. So, and to me, when I saw that, I was just like, whether they were given permission or whether it's just someone negating the rules, this is what's another thing that's causing the divisiveness with people when it comes to COVID and COVID regulations. It just doesn't help.
But are we not jumping to conclusions?
I was just about to say,
that's what I said. I don't know.
Devil's advocate, but we haven't gotten confirmation if maybe he was the store manager or something.
Right.
So, I don't know. Like he could have.
I don't know, but
that protocol was happening and people were like, he could have been the gopher, like go get the package for Lambert, and it's just like, okay, go.
Right, but people, we said this yesterday, I can't remember if it was owner or offer, we said this, Jamal, but people, when they want to create their narratives, they create narratives. So if, because she was short, then it just causes divisiveness, period. So
well, again, I don't know who's causing the divisiveness in this case, because I think the video was taken by whoever, right? And they're given their own context. And I think I agree with you guys both just now. It's like when you take that video, you're creating your own context without knowing whether this person is an employee, whether they're a delivery person. You don't have the details, but yet you're sharing that as if. And I've seen other posts, like I've seen social media posts. Oh, Sale GP store can have people inside, but other local retailers have to have store side or curbside, pickup and so on. We don't know, because from what I saw in the video, there was a lady standing outside and a man inside. That unless my eyes deceive me, who's to say that the man wasn't in there, working in there, and they're at the counter waiting to give the lady something outside? There's just too many things there to draw conclusions and act like that's exactly what happened. So it's really, I don't know. I understand we're testy, we have COVID fatigue. There's issues. We don't feel like government's been honest. The transparency is not there. But we don't have to look for I just feel like every day there's a new fight. I don't know if you guys saw Charles Richardson had a post yesterday, and I guess with me, I don't read much into social media posts like others. Like, I don't see a lot of people's posts. So when I go on social media, Twitter and LinkedIn would be my go-tos. Facebook, I'll go on there. Unless it's in my news feed, I don't see it. So I would not know who Charles was referring to, right? But I think even people who may disagree with Charles on many things may agree with him on that. Like, I saw this thing yesterday, and I'm gonna find it real quickly and read it to you, because it was very I think Kelly Winchell had it up on her page, but this is really something up. And I'll be honest, for me, when I was in college, right up to graduate school, I don't know if you guys did a lot of research papers, but I had to do a lot. And this post that she posted really kind of sums up research. And I'm not saying you have to go to college to know how to do actual research, but I'm not quite sure people understand what research is. But here's the post. It's credited to on April 3rd to a Saya Olivia Hayashi. And it says, please stop saying you researched it. You didn't research anything, and it's highly probable that you don't even know how to do so. Did you compile a literature review and write abstracts on each article? Or better yet, did you collect a random sample of sources and perform independent probability statistics on the reported results? No. Did you at least take each article one by one and look into the source? That would be the author, publisher, and funder. Then critique the writing for logical fallacies, cognitive distortions, and plain inaccuracies. Did you ask yourself why this source might publish these particular results? Did you follow the trail of references and apply the same source of scrutiny to them? No. Then you didn't your research anything. I bleep thing. You read or watched a video, most likely with little to no objectivity. You came across something in your algorithm, manipulated feed, something that jived with your implicit biases and served your confirmation biases, and subconsciously applied your emotional filters and called it proof. Scary. Signed, Linda Gamble Spadaro. That right there, if anybody needs to hear it, is why we have the issues that we have. Because everybody thinks whatever supports their narrative is considered research. That's not research, folks. Just because something supports your narrative doesn't make it right, doesn't make it research. It actually might just confirm, wait for it, that you're, hold on.
Yes.
It may just confirm that you're fucking stupid. So,
but you know what's interesting as well, what people are doing, and I've consciously now I just scroll by because I'm like, nah, don't give them energy. They create the narrative, they create a theory based on their narrative, not even like I researched it, right? They create it and then they keep trying to poke holes in something that doesn't exist, and then people are like, yes, and I'm just like, you know what, Carla, shut up. Don't I literally type stuff in there and say, take your fingers back and move on, because these people are so determined. I don't have an issue with questioning, but when you do stuff because you want people to jump on your bandwagon, I just can't bleep with that. Can I get a with that? With that.
I thought that was purchased for me, and it has not been used for me.
No, not yet, Jackie.
I have been so good. This
Yeah.
is amazing.
But
Well,
these are people who I thought were logical. That's the hard part. I thought that they were
Yeah.
logical thinking people. And I'm like, wow, you really think like that?
Well,
Nah.
here's another issue though, and Charles touched on this. And again, I don't know who he is talking about because I'm not
He
connected.
never said anyone, to be fair.
Okay. Well, here's the challenge, and I'm sure right now there's 110 people tuned in live, 87 on Facebook, 6 on the Full 100 YouTube, 2 on Twitch, 1 on Twitter, 4 on the Full 100 Radio YouTube, and 12 on the Daily Hour YouTube. So it's 114 now watching this show live. If you're watching on Facebook, you would right now see 89 people live. Why do I say this to you right now? Because we don't come on here and do this because we want a certain number of people watch this show. It's not about clout building. Yesterday, we put on our social media, name 3 words that you can use to describe the Daily Hour. That's really to get an understanding of what you feel about the show. But at the end of the day, what we're here to do is find ways to have critical thinking conversations, right? Think critically, have conversations that in a way will improve our community, right? I don't give a crap if it's 1 person or 100 people watching. If that 1 person can take the message that we're discussing and have it with other people, and they have it with other people, then to me, what we're doing works. But Charles addressed something in there, and it's this thing called clout, right? So many people are willing to just put every and anything out there for clout purposes. I could give a crap if I had 1 person follow me on social media. I do not care. I'm not interested to see who's watching this show or how many people. That doesn't matter to me. That is a psychological damaging thing for any individual who does that. So when you take these things based on your research and you start sharing it, I'm starting to think that psychologically something's not right. Something's not right. And I really think as a community, we need to get a hold of this. I'm not saying, as Carla just said, it's not about questioning the government. I do that all day, every day. Someone asked me the other day, do I trust government? I don't trust governments to give me clean drinking water. So no, no, it's not about that. But if you're gonna argue and ask questions, seriously, folks, understand what research is. And if you've missed what I read earlier, this show is available to stream even after it's live. But stop the BS. Seriously, it's not healthy for any of us.
I'm the administrator on 2 large groups, and you would be surprised the amount of moderation alerts we get. And they say they've removed this content for false information, that people who I thought before were logical thinking people or rational, and the stuff that they're posting as what they believe, and Facebook is just pulling it off. I'm like, wow, this is deep. It's like, I don't know. It's disgusting me. It's really turning me off from social media, to be quite honest, because I'm losing hope in who I thought were some of them that I considered like rational thinking friends. And I'm like,
I think that's where I disagree with you, though. I don't care for logical thinking people. That's like common sense. I don't want it because common sense means to think like the common person. I'm about critical thinking. This is not critical thinking that these folks are doing. This is supportive. Like you're looking legit for people to support your thinking. Logical thinking is a problem to me because logical means all things the same. Just thinking logically, thinking as if things already are and have always been. I don't want that BS either. So I'm very different from most people. We have to critically think, ask the right questions. And some of that is going to take, guess what? Research. And you know what research takes? More than just reading something that supports what you want to believe. That's it. Talent Clark says, stating an opinion is different than claiming it as facts. Well,
know the difference.
They don't, Jackie. Teresa Stewart says, folks need to watch Social Dilemma on Netflix. Man, that made me question everything. When did it come out? Right before the pandemic? When did that come out?
I think right after, but I haven't seen it. I've heard about it.
I'm gonna watch it. I don't know if I watched it already. I'm gonna watch it again.
I would say check that out. Everyone runs to University of YouTube and Google. I mean, like I said, I've learned a lot of stuff on YouTube, but I don't use information like other people's opinions to support my narrative. That's the difference with me. I use YouTube to figure out tech stuff and find ways to make it work. And it's been pretty good from that standpoint. Dawn Simmons, this is a great point right here. We have too many people playing gotcha. Like, see, I told you so. That's it. That's it. Carla John says, yup, grad school taught me that my opinions mean nothing without sources. Yo, look.
I used to do pure sources because my dad would be like, what's the subject? Oh, I have a mate that used to work in that subject. Call him and go sit with him. He used to set up the meetings for me. So doing regular research where you're just going on the internet and finding an article that supports what you want to claim to be the truth, that's not it. You're going to find something that contradicts it and then have an argument against it to find out where you lie. But that's just how I usually do it.
You know what? I feel sorry. But I feel sorry for people after this pandemic. I wonder if they're going to crawl up and disintegrate because they have no more rhetoric to spew out. It's like the pandemic has given them this life or a cloud, as you said earlier. When it's all done, they're going to be him like this. Like, what can I torment people about?
So silencing the empty vessels, I'm for it.
Jack is for it. I don't know. Rick Olson says social media should be treated the same as bar talk, unfortunately. Well, they probably are drinking. Crystal Lynn, nothing about this is new. It's just out on social media now for all to see. I would disagree slightly, Crystal, only from this respect. I don't think the conversation levels are new, but because of the access to information, we have much more access to information than ever before. So I think that's where it's different. And so now that there's so much information in front of us, we don't know collectively how to decipher like what's fact from fiction versus what we want to believe. So I kind of agree and disagree. I really don't think we have people that know how to really get down and figure out what's the truth. Bobby's saying, Carla.
Some people are easily influenced. They see someone with a lot of followers or likes and they take their word as gospel. Meanwhile, they are silently being manipulated and used to spread an unreached theory. It's all about what fits your narrative.
Well, it used to be about money. Money used to be the powerful thing that influenced people, right? But now it seems like social media power and following. Like all you need is a large following and to come across believable. Crystal Lynn, Jackie.
Imagine how kids are influenced by the adults that are ignorant, and then our kids are in school with their kids or playing activities.
No, I totally agree.
And I'm like, oh, we are doomed.
That is a great point, actually.
That was my concern in regards to the virus, because you have parents who don't believe in social distancing, blah, 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 blah. And then you send them to school and your children who you're complying with in your household are being exposed. I think that's a very valid point.
Yeah. And
which means you have to put in extra time to.
Says there is so much misinformation trying to determine what's a credible source is blurry due to clout. Malika Cartwright says, I always want to be proven wrong through fact-based research. Dijon Simmons says, quote, we are drawing in information, but starve for knowledge. And that sums it up right there. That sums it up. The information's all around us. But as far as knowledge, I don't know. Sean Smith, how many people question what the media is putting out? Hand up.
Everybody.
That's why I'm here. Honestly, I think from me, even for instance, I'll use President Donald Trump. I cannot get into watching Fox News or CNN or MSNBC traditionally because they all serve certain purposes, right? So if I'm going to watch one, I have to watch the other actually, right? Sometimes I feel like, wow, MSNBC is just as bad as Fox. Like one's so far left, the other's so far right. It's hard to find a middle ground. But I think what Sean Smith's asking is important that we question even the sources that we traditionally believe, because let's be honest, there are people that hate one thing so much that they're willing to support the other, even though the other is just as bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So let's take the news break. We're going to come back. We have a lot more to talk about. It looks like there's a war going on between the Ministry of Education and the teachers. And that regiment, folks, that regiment. Also want to have an important conversation. Do not leave this convo. We have to address an issue that is plaguing our community. And that issue is there are too many GoFundMe accounts being set up in Bermuda, and we have to find ways to address this. Carla, we're going to take the news break and then over to you.
Yeah.
Go to the commercial break. You get what I'm saying. Shucks. I ain't had my juice this morning.
We will not be thrown under the bus by the Ministry of Education. This coming from the Bermuda Union of Teachers yesterday in the wake of teachers taking their fixed midterm break today, outlined in the General Orders for Teachers 1974. Via a press release, the spokesperson said, the idea to have this day serve as a make-up day for the 4 days that were added to the recent Easter break was not communicated to this union until Monday of this week in the form of a written request by the Commissioner of Education. We were asked to respond to this last-minute request by Wednesday, April 21st. Having already assured our school reps and therefore our entire membership that this Friday is our General Orders mandated fixed midterm break and will be considered a no work day, we could not then rescind that communication just days left before the date in question, so we declined the Commissioner of Education's request. The release goes on to defend the integrity of the BUT. Quote, to now be thrown under the bus so that the ministry can deflect pressure is insulting, disheartening, and petty. This union has no interest in a public tit for tat with the ministry, but we have even less interest in entertaining this matter of odious demonizing tactic towards our hardworking, dedicated, and professional teachers. End quote. Day of Silence was first organized by a group of students at the University of Virginia. The day was originally for a class project for nonviolent protesting. Over 150 students participated in the first year. A year later, the group took the project nationally, spreading the observance to over 100 universities. This solidarity demonstrated the importance that Day of Silence can mean to LGBT and allies all over and proves that the time for hatred and oppression is over. Instead, these are replaced by care, compassion, and love, which is something the world could always do more with, no matter who or where you are. Turning to weather, the temperature in Bermuda is expected to reach a high of 67 today. Fort Lauderdale, Florida will see a high of 80, and Manchester, UK, a high of 84. That's your Daily Hour news break.
Oh, that teacher situation's spicy. We're going to talk about that when we get back. We're cooking something up in education, and it's not the learning of the students, of course. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Karen, a nurse at the old folks home. These long hours used to kill my feet until my hairdresser told me about a great place to buy a pair of clogs. Medical House. Finally, relief. They also carry uniforms in bright, bold colors. And not to mention the support stockings.
Karen, Miss Salter's bet her bet again.
Oh gosh, these days, I need all the support I can get.
Medical House has relocated next to the Dendy Town Field, number 6 Bakery Lane, Pembroke.
Nature's Path Organic are a family business, major proponents of the organic method of food production with decades of experience in the field, and have diversified their interests focusing on animal welfare and children's education in that realm. Hence the introduction of Enviro Kids cereal made to the exacting standards we expect and benefiting their cause. Saving animals one breakfast at a time. 1% of sales goes towards protection of animals and their habitats. We're featuring Enviro Kids organic, gluten-free Gorilla Munch cereal. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
Alrighty. Welcome back to the big show. Carl Azul, Jackie Lambert, and me, Jamal Hartman, the Daily Hour, Medical House, One Communications, and our friends over at Channel 82. You can watch them streaming 24/7. All right, let's get to this. So, what? I'm happy about this.
Yeah, you just had an adrenaline rush.
Well,
did you have your smoothie off camera?
No, I ain't had nothing, but
education.
So look, okay. So what I hear is the teachers are saying, and let me just, because I brought up on the Gazette, right? Teachers have defended taking today off as her half-term break and fired a broadside, as said the Royal Gazette, at the Department of Education, right? So basically, they're saying that they were given the information on Monday and had to give an answer by Wednesday.
Yeah.
So Okay, let's do this. So why was not Tuesday enough time to Wednesday for them to give an answer? Any word on that?
Well, I received a copy of the release, and like I read in the report, in our news brief, they had already communicated, meaning the BUT had already communicated to their union reps that they would have Friday off. Now, I have to say this because I saw the comments on social media where some parents were blasting teachers. Teachers were expressing their disappointment in the criticism. I did speak to one teacher yesterday at length, and she said that some teachers were actually opting to have class today, but it depended on the students. And she was like, this is hurtful because we care about our students. People seem to think that the midterm break is always connected with the exhibition, which that's been since we were all little, regardless of how old we are. It always seemed like you got exhibition Friday off, but apparently it has nothing to do with the exhibition, which is why the ministry asked for them to consider taking it. But she was like, it's hurtful to see these comments when so many teachers are dedicated and been above and beyond when it comes to their students, especially during these times. And it's one thing that she said, I would like to ask the parents, do you know how many laptops teachers are provided with, but yet we still get the job done? And I didn't even know we were talking about this today. I was doing research for the news and it was so much stuff I couldn't use it all. But that was something that she said to me yesterday. She said, ask parents that. When was the last time we received laptops?
I mean, Elizabeth asks about the laptops every day.
Elizabeth Varela, yeah, she pretty much
every day, and she hasn't. I don't think she's ever gotten a response, but she keeps tagging people and no response. I could be wrong, but I haven't seen her get a response.
This just seems like whenever I see the teachers and the ministry going at each other's throats, right? Because that's what this is. I really do feel for the students because I genuinely think, and I could be wrong, got ready to throw stuff at me. Thankfully, I'm not at the Apollo, but I genuinely think all sides want what's best for the students. I do. But I think genuinely both sides don't agree on the way forward as to what that looks like.
You just talked about rational thinking, right? And I'm going to be a rational thinker here, just throwing it out there. So because of COVID, they went on break a few days earlier than they were supposed to the other day. So to me, shouldn't that conversation have taken place then? Because most likely by April 23rd, the numbers wouldn't have changed, blah, blah. There was no exhibition anyway. So shouldn't communication back then when the decision was taken for the 4 days to say, listen, BUT, would your membership consider, here's the deadline. So then when school went back, they could announce that can you please consider the 23rd not being a mid-break day? Why was that decision taken on Monday or giving that option to the BUT on Monday? Because I mean, in real life, who's got time to plan like that? Even with parents, who's got time to plan like that?
I mean, it's all real life, I think. But yeah, I get you.
No, but
I get you.
I don't know. The calendar is set so early because I know I usually get a copy of the calendar with we do the inter-school tennis tournament. So I know a schedule is set like in September. So and we all know that the spikes keep rising and falling and there's always going to be some type of complication. But I just don't see that there's ever a real backup plan. It's always a last minute.
To be fair, because I worked in education for 6 years as the communications officer, right? Sometimes things happen. And I mean, add COVID into it, things can happen. But I also think in light of the way that COVID has overtaken in Bermuda again, that these are proactive, and not to say that they weren't taken, I don't know, but these are proactive conversations that could have happened. I don't think that people are not being adaptable or teachers are not being adaptable. And this is my opinion with no bias, but it's the time thing. You can't just keep throwing stuff when things already had a certain look that you could have looked at earlier. And then teachers are being railed. And I think it's unfair. I do feel that teachers are underappreciated. Not every teacher is there for the best interest of the child. We know this. But I do think that teachers are being railroaded in this situation as far as the perception that they don't care.
Elizabeth Carla.
The ministry had weeks to bring that up with the union. Why everything has to be last minute with them?
Mhm. And I think both of you touched on that. What's the timeline, right? Where's the foresight? I guess I'm asking. Where's the foresight? Where did we? Why did we come up to think of this? Why did we think of this at this time and expect an answer so quickly? Again, some people may say, well, they had 2 days. That's enough time. But in a pandemic, getting your membership together is a challenge.
That's what to say. You got a lot of people you got to bring together and get a response from. It's not like it's just too many people in a group chat.
But these are unprecedented times.
But you also have, and I think this can't be mistaken, because we always talk about the working mom or working parents, but we honestly forget that a lot of these teachers actually, while they're teaching their students, they may have children at home that they have to get ready for their own lessons and so on and set up. So we just don't know. And so it probably was a bit unfair to expect a response so fast. Yeah.
Of course. And I think part of it was probably the holding out hope. And I think this is where the COVID times are unprecedented, and people are holding out hope that, the numbers would be done in a month's time, for example. But in this times, I think that we always, and remember, I've been in lockdown for God knows how long at this point in Manchester. We have to think about the worst case, I think, when it comes to COVID, and they should have actioned on a worst case scenario, i.e., asking for them to consider it before Monday. Because if you ask me something unreasonable, I'm going to tell you no too. I'm going to tell you no. And I've seen people
doesn't think it was unreasonable, though. That's how you feel. The ministry obviously doesn't feel it was unreasonable. They think that that was enough time. The teachers, on the other hand, feel it was unreasonable. So again, that's just two different perspectives on how they see it. I'm gonna be honest. When I saw the ministry first, it seemed like the teachers were being thrown under the bus, and I just knew the response probably was not going to be pretty. Let's go to some comments. We have a lot, and we'll share it. Linda Tucker says, what about the children? Nicole Walker says, teachers are mentally burnt out. The ministry needs to figure it out. Crystal Lynn L says, I think our educators are here for kids, not the ministry necessarily. Malika Cartwright, the disconnect between the ministry and the teachers hurts the children, and that is the real loss. Teresa Stewart says, Nicole Walker, right, because some are likely parents or have to take care of children as well. Honest question, Bobby Singh says, what experience in education does the current Minister of Education have? Well, I know we address this pretty often, and I think Canada is probably one of the only countries where, they have ministers that actually are familiar with the areas that they cover, right? I think in Bermuda, it's pretty tough. Although we have a finance minister who actually has a finance background, I think if you're setting precedent like that, it probably would be in the country and government's best interest. But I know that it could lead, as I've stated previously on this show, it could lead to, and I mean, Bermuda's small, but conflicts of interest, right? What if Hewitt Brown, the Honorable Dr. Brown, was the Minister of Health? What if Glenn Blakeney, who owned a radio station, was the Minister of Telecommunications, right? We'd probably be saying conflicts of interest, this, that, and the other. So it's a thin line. I get I get you, because education, you could have had a former educator or a teacher. I remember when the PLP were first elected in 1998, people were confused as to why Dale Butler was not made education minister at the time, knowing that was his background. So I get the question, just not quite sure how it'll work.
But Mal, I think it's important for people to understand there's a difference between the Ministry of Education and the Department of Education. And it was the Department of Education who made the request, not the ministry. People do need to understand the ministry is policy, hence in Bobby's case, talking about Minister Raban, but the Department of Education comes under Kalmar Richards, who is the one who asked the request, and she was a former principal and a long-term educator, because some people don't even understand the difference between the two entities. They are not one and the same.
What's her title again? The CEO, right?
She's the Commissioner of Education.
Right. And it's interesting, because one of the things I was going to say is what role does she play? But again, you mentioned that, but a lot of people have been feel that the directives given to the department come from the ministry. So while they may be different, it still seems like a chain to people based on the information's put out there. So when you put it like that, is there really a difference when if Ms. Richards is being told what to do by the ministry? So it's not really a difference when you really look at it. It should be.
But we don't know that. And that's another unknown. I understand what it's perceived at, of course. But I just thought that it was important to delineate because in some ways, it is a connection, but it may not be as strong as a connection as people determine. And I do think that that's not fair for clarity.
No, I think you're touching on something. I'm pretty sure that a lot of people, it's no different from Ministry of Health and Department. And I think this is why people are screaming about, we need the experts per se talking, not the minister, right?
Yes.
I think that's where they go with that. So I kind of think people get the difference. But again, the directives are people feel they come from the ministry. And when you look even at this show, Kamala Richards hasn't shown her face on the show, but the Minister of Education has. And, people say, oh, well, we've had Lou Matthews on. We've had people that have worked in that space that pretty much feel that the governments, whoever they are, over the last 12 ministers since 1998, I'm probably being generous there, have had too much input, influence, whatever, in what decisions are being made.
But that also goes back to the PR side of it, because you're absolutely correct. And I have heard that statement before, but perhaps if Ms. Richards is listening or whomever, she needs to get out there and let her voice be heard. How often do you hear from the COE compared to former times? You heard much more from other permanent commissioners. So just putting it out there, because that's where that's going to come from.
Erlen DeShield says, and the sad thing is most people in the ministry were teachers. Emily Gail Deal, yes, last minute doesn't work for anyone. Stacey Grant, Jackie.
But aren't the people in the ministry actual teachers? Shouldn't they have a deeper understanding of what teachers are going through and what they have to deal with?
Elmore Warren says, I think every teacher is there for the best interest, but the system threat is okay. But the system, I'm going to say threat, guys, them is a mess, has been for a long time. Our foundation out of course. Malika Cartwright, there are a few days that need to be made up. You guys can laugh. I mean, I just read what was there. I tried my best. There are a few days that need to be made up. Is there not a committee that is working on how to make up the days that have been missed? And I think this is what Carla might be like kind of talking about, like under the Commission of Education. I'm sure there's people that work for her. Some of the greatest leaders, they're not great because of the work they do. They're great because of the teams they put together and do together. And so this is a reflection not of necessarily the minister or the government, but the Commission of Education and her team, if anything, right? I think that's kind of where Carla was going, that we should be looking at. Deshaun Simmons, Carla.
I believe people forget the teachers have families as well. They may be organizing for their classes and also trying to cater at home. Their kids, it isn't easy at all. I totally agree.
Yeah.
I don't know. We just keep talking about how exhausted everybody is. And then that on Friday is supposed to be your day off. So when you put your lesson plans together, you put your lesson plans together from Monday to Thursday because Friday is not needed. And then you get asked, do you want to do Friday? And then you have a discussion to try and figure out if you can come up with a lesson plan, get that information out to these students that are already frustrated about this virtual online learning. And the last thing you want to do is add frustration and more chaos to the parents' lives that have to sit there, work from home, and educate the children and help the teachers. I just think that that's where the last minute comes from. I always supported teachers and would sing their praises. However, in this instance, despite short notice, I do not agree. Midterm break is in February, about a month after returning from the Christmas break. The Friday in April was always for the exhibition. So we have midterm break on Friday, and then 2 months later, a day in April.
In the UK, we get breaks every 6 weeks, right? Now, everybody across the world has suffered in education as such. For me, they told us already, be prepared. School may go in a week earlier in September, or they may add extra days at the end of the year. I'm okay with that. because we're in unprecedented times. And I think we have to adjust accordingly. So someone asked about a committee, like just at the days at the end. And some people I know say, what you mean? But we're got to be able to be a bit flexible. But I do think in this case, telling them on Monday to reconsider for Friday, I do think it's unreasonable, but it's not undoable. It's not untenable. Something can happen if people just work together.
And how
with
do they,
respect.
I want to hear from the audience as well. So what are the solutions to this? Because it seems like an extremely broken system, fractured relationships. We've discussed the issues. What are some of the solutions to what we're facing with education? From the ministry side, signature schools and less schools, right? But what are some of the solutions for the immediate issues that we're facing? Because there seems to be a huge disconnect. Where do we go from here?
Can divide be repaired? Because that BUT statement was very bold, I think, and very strong. And I'm not saying they're wrong, but can the relationship be healed to where it can get back to the benefit of the kids? Because teachers are feeling like they've just been hit upside the head in some ways. So that's something to think about as well.
Yeah, every solution comes with a conversation. So you need at least everybody needs to send in one person to represent each organization and have a real conversation. Go in with what you're looking for and what you want to do, and see if you can come to an agreement, because it's for the betterment of the country. It's not just the children, it's not just the teachers, but it's one of the biggest foundations, and we're just struggling with it. But we have to have a conversation.
Tyra Simmons says effective communication is what's missing. And I think Carla mentioned earlier, PR is an issue. So effective communication within. I mean, I think they may believe that they gave them enough time Monday to Wednesday, but realistically, come on. I think that was unfair. There's no way they could think that. Sheldon Eugene Fox 2 says, when I taught in the US every month, we had an early release day and at least one grading day every 6 weeks for professional development. So maybe looking outside and seeing how things are done in other places, and seeing how you can adapt it to work for your jurisdiction may be helpful too. Teresa Stewart says collaboration, cohesion, as Flo mentioned, they need to work together. Yeah, but how? Shanna Smith, Carla.
We can't get this right, and we are about to undertake a major education overhaul. This is concerning.
Yes, Jackie.
I just feel for these students. It seems they are stuck in the middle of a cluster leap. That's one of my favorite words. And as these kids are our future and deserve better. They deserve so much better.
They do. Tyra Simmons says many teachers have gone to EAP due to different stresses. Just last week, I was feeling not depressed for myself, but for those within the ministry and Department of Health because of what they go through. Like at the front of the bus, it's always the politics and politicians, and they're the ones in the back that are probably stressing, and they've got families, and I felt like they maybe need some therapy, right? Like government needs to be supporting them with therapists. And I say that because as I think about educators, I'm just like, honestly, you're driving these folks to a point where they probably would need therapy and therapists, right? It's probably a very bad situation. Nicole Walker, Carla.
Yes, the day should be added at the end, and summer break be delayed to offset the extended Easter break. Seems like communication is just not there.
I mean, in the U.S., I know they do snow days up in the Northeast.
You can find those days.
What was that?
They need to start to have that conversation now. If you're going to add it on to the end of the school year, you need to start to advise the teachers that that's going to be a case. Don't throw it on them again last minute.
Indeed.
But I'll say this to parents, right? Because as a parent, and it's hard. It's hard to have to keep switching your hats. But parents, you can now open your mouths and do and ask for accountability, as we've been always talking about, instead of just ranting on social media. Call 278, whatever the number is, to get to education, and let your voices be heard, whichever way you feel about it. Let's try to effect tangible, substantive change instead of just getting on social media and criticizing or whatever. Demand change, because these are your children who are being affected.
Well, you know me, folks.
I would go straight to the top.
Break that system down. If you feel like it's wrong, break.
We'll all be down St. David's, okay? All of us at St. David's making noise as parents.
Break it down. All right, go through a few more comments. Carla Jones says, I thought that education in Bermuda would be much better if every politician was expected to send their own children to public schools. Sean Smith says, is bad communication the norm between the parties, or are these issues few and far between? From your experience in education, was it always like this, Carla?
There's always going to be a different perspective, but I think with this statement that the BU2 get, that saying, when you fight, you keep it in the house, you never show your people what's happening outside. And I think this is one of the first times in a long time where they've showed their underpants outside of the house. And so it's nothing new, but I just think it's a different approach.
All righty. Michelle White says, move forward, assuming that the learning will continue online until the end of the year. Make decisions now for these days and adapt by adding to the end of the year. I like that solution. I'm going to wrap it up with Dijon Simmons, Carla, then Elizabeth, Jackie.
As long as politics is played in education, the children suffer. It has been written multiple times before.
The ministry departments simply need to be more supportive of teachers. There is clearly a disconnect and lack of respect for the time and energy they put into their classrooms after hours.
All righty. Look, I wanted to touch on something else as well. I've noticed a trend of Bermudians having GoFundMe accounts created. And it's concerning. It's extremely concerning. And it's concerning because I didn't think that our Bermuda was a place where people would need to be in a space where the public would have to support their, health and medical challenges. This is something I think that we should be talking about more. And I think it's something that needs to be addressed sooner than later, because as it continues, it'll pile up. And what it's going to do is put a strain on our community. Just this week, we saw 2 younger people that were dealing with medical challenges, and they had GoFundMe accounts. I'm not sure if this is something that we can pressure the government to look into, but the reason I think it's important to discuss here is because I don't want it to happen to any of us, meaning our audience, our family, the Daily Hour. And I don't think we should have to wait to do something about it until it happens to us. So it's concerning. I don't know if there's anything that we can do, who we need to talk to address this. I know there were conversations last year about, or the year before, the government of Bermuda changing healthcare and providing healthcare for all. Would this have made a difference? I don't know. But it's something that we really, really need to fix in our community, because it seems like it's showing a side during this pandemic that we really don't want to see. And while I say that, I'm just going to ask a few questions. How do we put a value on medical care? Why is medical care so expensive? Why does one need to pay $10,000 and $20,000 just to stay alive? Something's wrong, something's broken, and something needs to be fixed. How do we do that? That's why we're starting the conversation here. But no living person should be in a position where their life depends on whether they can raise money to get the care that they need.
That's what's scary to me, Mal. I've seen the 2. And I was thinking, what does that much feel like when you're trying to raise money, you have a condition that's imperative to you living, that's got to add stress, worrying about if you're going to raise the money. I was just like, wow, this is surreal. I mean, and we used to see it with older people as such, but to see 2 young people who are either under or close to 40 in the same week, it just blew my mind. I was just like, what stress that must be.
And Talent Clark says, prior to GoFundMe, we only had raffles and potlucks. I think that the point doesn't change, though, Talent, is my point. The point doesn't change. It's a concern. And even if we go back to raffles and potlucks, we've not fixed this situation.
Right.
That's my point, bro. It's a problem. Like, we donate to these GoFundMes. We do give, and we talk about them. The issue is not about supporting the people. The issue is, how do we create a better situation where people don't have to have potlucks or raffles or GoFundMes? Something about healthcare and the medical system seems morally wrong, and it needs to be fixed. On that note, we're going to lighten it up a bit before we go to the Daily Play, because there was something funny that happened. Well, it's funny to me. What'd I do?
If it's funny to you, then it's definitely going to be funny to me.
Anything is funny to you, Jackie.
I like my corny jokes. So
Well, here it is, folks. Here it is.
Yes.
Like, come on, folks.
Kadunk. We are not gonna make it, guys. We're not gonna make it.
I thought it was cute.
So,
It's
folks,
cute. It's like Police Academy cute.
so folks, all due respect, the regiment out there doing their thing, and I think that's another video anyway, right? But the regiment's out there doing their thing, trying to, keep the island safe and keep people, where they're supposed to be, compliant. But you can't lie. That's one of the fun. We needed that kind of laughter with all we going through. That was one of the funniest things I've seen this year, next to Jackie's jokes. But jumping out, and it's almost like the guy's like, go, go, go. And yeah, somebody got trapped on the boat. But in fairness, I'm going to just be real with you. That would have been me.
But at least his brethren saved him. Nobody laughed. No man left behind. First rule, and they nailed it.
But it was a training exercise, and I will say, thankfully, nobody's interested in coming and taking over Bermuda, because we shouldn't feel safe with that kind of protection.
The sand was too soft.
Oh, that's what it was? Oh, boy.
They didn't go in. They're supposed to go all the way in, then they jump off and run. They jumped off.
Let's take a break, folks. We'll be right back. Daily Play. At Bermuda Communications Group Limited, we love to help businesses and organizations of all sizes across various industries. Find out how we've been working with our clients to improve their customer experience and increase their revenue. Send us an email to contact@bermudacommunications.com to see how we can assist you next. All right, welcome back to this. Yeah, so look, the other thing about that, falling in the water, doesn't it make like everything heavier because they already have heavy
everything? That's what I was giggling at. I'm like, it was gonna be chafed.
It was two of them though. I'd have been vaxxed because he made me fall.
Yeah, well,
The boy started swimming before he even hit the water. Anyway,
sad times. But hey, GI joke. I mean, the regiment are doing their thing, and yeah, let's support what they're doing. Look, it's Daily Playtime. Thanks again. If you enjoyed today's conversation, please give us a thumbs up, a like, a love. Show us some laughter, but just let us know. Jackie, you don't have a feel good for us, do you?
no, but I have a joke.
Oh,
That's a feel good.
Let's hear your joke, Jackie. Let's hear her joke.
Get the
Did you
button
guys
ready.
hear about the scarecrow that got promoted?
What was that? Start again.
Did you guys hear about the scarecrow that got promoted?
No.
He was outstanding in his field.
We're gonna give her a bomb, Carla.
I'm with you now.
That was so good.
Oh boy, we're gonna take that as a feel good, Jackie. We're gonna take it. Make sure you follow Jackie on her social media because she's always got one for you, folks. She's always got one. Barbara Show, number one. Like I said, if you enjoyed today's episode, make sure you give us a like, love. Also, ensure that you're following us on YouTube. Here's the Daily Play, folks. Get ready. It's the feud.
I'm ready.
All
I have
right.
my water.
PG. Carla's already thinking ready with the first one. Name something you do while you soak in the tub.
Fart.
Drink wine.
Light a candle.
You might have said it already, but I can't
Read.
go. Read is number 1.
Oh.
Relax is number 2. Listen to music, number 3. Daydream, 4. Sing, 5. Think, 6.
I said
Carla.
fart.
None of this what Carla does.
Well, I'm glad she didn't say what I thought she was gonna say first, right?
That's why I started blurting out stuff. I'm like, I'm gonna block her out.
I would not. It's PG.
Okay.
Right.
Check clock just changed, Jackie. All right. Second one. Name something the family takes turns using.
The car.
Number 2.
Boot.
The TV.
Number
Laundry. Washer and dryer. No.
Take time.
TV.
No, I said that.
take turns. TV is number 6 or 5. Sorry.
Paying bills. Walking the dog.
Walking the dog.
Oh, bathroom. All these people.
Oh,
Got it. The family number 1 answer by a long shot is bathroom.
I was blessed.
Bathroom.
Actually, no, I lied because I had to share with my sisters, and that was brutal.
I just
little
barge
one,
in.
so I was always getting kicked out. Get out!
All right, we don't have much time. All right, last one. Name something people take with them to the basement when a tornado is coming.
Food.
Their bag. Their bag. Their handbag.
It's bombing it today.
Because you know I'm all about the food.
Number 2 was water. Number 3, flashlight. Number 4,
I'm about my passport.
Number 5, children. All right, so Carla.
Forgot about them.
Carla, yeah. Number 5, isn't it? Ain't that something?
That's so far behind.
Hold on. We gotta go back through this. Food was number 1, water number 2, flashlight number 3, radio number 4. Children was number 5, folks. That's the last priority for people.
Because when they argue all the time, you just want to leave them behind. I said bad because I thought about my passport.
One at a time, guys. One at a time. Go ahead, Carla.
Sorry.
I said they're always arguing, so I wasn't worried about them. I was looking at peace, and I tell my bag because I got my passport and my computer in it.
I feel like children got themselves. Like they should be like, we should be in the basement, and like, ching, they should be ahead of the game. They should be carrying supplies.
You all are nuts. Well, look, folks. If there happens to be a tornado in Manchester, we just know. We just know.
Grand 11, 15, and 20. They'll beat me there.
That's what I'm saying. They're probably gonna be like, Mama, where you at? Where's the food? Hurry up. Bring supplies.
In fairness, is right. They didn't say what age the children. They didn't say what age. All right, folks. Carla, you have some daily inspiration for us?
Today's inspiration is from Oliver Wendell Holmes. The great thing in this world is not so much where you stand, as in what direction you are moving.
Not where you stand, but what direction you're moving. I like
Forward.
That. Forward, always. Look, let's do a quick roll call before we head out. Let us know where you're tuned in from. Again, if you're in Bermuda, be specific. Jackie, where are you?
Warwick.
I mean, Warwick's a big parish.
Burnt House Hill.
I used to hear bad things about Burnt House Hill when it came to the half marathon. Say that was the toughest part of the half.
Yeah, I'm right at the top of the hill. And I remember I ran May 24th and I got over and I was just like, I need some food. And I almost went home because it's right there.
Before?
Yeah.
Oh, congratulations.
I actually ran for orange and I was sharing with people.
I'd love to hear more, but we have to run. Carla, where are you at?
Manchester.
All right, let's wrap it up. Final thoughts on today's show, Jackie.
I really enjoyed it, but we have some work to do, as always.
All right, Carla, what you saying?
Work together, ministry and teachers.
All right, we've got somebody on Church Street. Well, I did say specific, right? St. George's, Bermuda. St. David's, we've got Best Parish, St. George's. Well, that is God's country 2 days of the year. Work is Dr. Seaman. Bilbao, Spain. Be specific. The UK, I mean, we went through this. Come on, LeJoy. I'm going to say she's in Northern Ireland, right? Or Northern Ireland, yeah, that's it. That's where she is. Ord Road, Warwick in the house, Atlanta, Georgia, Pembroke. Well, this says my bedroom, Linwood Drive. See, I did
specific.
did say Aubrey Road, Crow Hill. I said specific. So Pembroke, North Shore. Have a great weekend. On that note, we're gonna head out. We're gonna let you guys run with it. Thanks again to our partners, Medical House, One Communications, and Linda's for ensuring that we're able to do this with you. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you. You thought I was gonna say tomorrow, didn't you? See, I'm getting like that was a good one, weren't it? Anyway, Carla Sewell, Jackie Lambert, I'm Jamal Hartman. Make it a great weekend, folks. Peace.